So tonight we'll start off with the Q&A. At least still many come in. I thought this chap called me. Maybe some of you disappear. Maybe, don't know. Throw oranges, maybe? Oh, anyway, for those who from overseas, you do not know what's the meaning of throwing oranges. Well, go and check up in the Google on the 15th night on the Chinese New Year. Anyway, let's just start with the Q&A. Okay, now I screen share for the first one. All right, can y'all see? Okay. Question 1. Can Bhante please elaborate what it means by liberation by mind and liberation by wisdom, which Bhante mentioned a few weeks ago? Okay, this is from Beng Chung in Subang Jaya. Liberation by mind and liberation by wisdom. The Pali word is Cetto Vimutti and Panya Vimutti. So I go to the next this one. Because tonight, I think it's going to be a bit more technical and a lot of terms that we have to look into it. Cetto Vimutti, Panya Vimutti. So the Vimutti here is translated as liberation or deliverance or release of freedom. Different authors have a different way of translating this word. The day when we talk about the 3 gateway of liberation, then the Pali word is Vimokha, which also synonymous to Vimutti. Here in the Vimutti part, there are supramundane and also there are mundane. Now, supramundane here means for the part where one attains the fruit of arahantship. So Panya Vimutti, then the suttas direct it to the knowledge or wisdom of the fruit of arahant. Whereas the Cetto Vimutti, you have concentration part on the path and fruit of the arahant. Concentration part. The first one, the Panya, is the wisdom part. So this part here, it cannot be separated because when they arise together. And this Panya and Cetto Vimutti when it comes to the fruition of an arahant. And then there are also other names for or connected with this Cetto Vimutti. Then you have Akupa Cetto Vimutti. For many times the Buddha used the word unshakable deliverance of the mind. That is arahantship. Then another time you use the word Animita Cetto Vimutti, markless or signless liberation of the mind. Now here there's a part here. Then bhikkhus. Wait, now I'll move my this one up. Then bhikkhus, I can't see. Wait, hold on. Okay. Then a bhikkhu might say thus: I have developed and cultivated the markless liberation of mind, made it my vehicle and basis, carried it out, consolidated it, and properly undertaken it. Yet my consciousness still follows after marks. He should be told, not so, do not speak thus, do not misrepresent the Blessed One, for it is not good to misrepresent the Blessed One. The Blessed One will certainly not speak in such a way. It is impossible and inconceivable, friend. that one might develop and cultivate the markless liberation of the mind. Make it one's vehicle and basis, carry it out, consolidate it, and properly undertake it. Yet one's consciousness could still follow after marks. There is no such possibility. For this, friend, it is the escape from all marks, namely the markless liberation of the mind. Sometimes some authors translate it as signless liberation of the mind. That again, we use the word signless liberation when we talk about the three gateway of liberation. Then that type of liberation is looking at it from another perspective, and this one looking from it from a slightly another perspective. So this part is on the supramundane part. Then we have the mundane part. Now the mundane part here is the mundane part here is the temporarily liberated from mental defilements. Or sometimes you just use, most of the time, this mundane Cheto Vimutti is connected with all the Janas. And all the Janas are considered mundane Janas. Considered mundane Jana. Let me see what is in the chat. All right. So mundane here for Cheto Vimutti usually connected with the mundane Janas. So there are like Metta Cheto Vimutti, and some places the Buddha mentioned about it. And also that there's a Appamana Cheto Vimutti, immeasurable or boundless liberation of the mind. There are 4 Brahma Viharas. So the word Cheto Vimutti, it's being used in the different contexts. And to make it a little bit more complicated, because when we use the word Cheto Vimutti, we have to look at the context of the sutta or context of the what is being mentioned by the Buddha. So here I'm going to go out again, and I'm going to go out and I share with you a sutta, and we'll see. Go out again. Okay, where's my... Okay, stop sharing. Okay. You see, here, can you see? Got to put it a bit bigger for you to see. Here is in the just now Majjhima Nikaya 43. Yes, Majjhima Nikaya 43. So I'm not going to explain everything. I just want to show you that the Cheto Vimutti is being used in different ways. So again here there are signless deliverance of the mind. Signless again here is Animita Cheto Vimutti. Okay, then the next one. Immeasurable deliverance of the mind. The one that I highlight. Immeasurable deliverance of the mind. That means it's Appamana Cheto Vimutti. And then here, deliverance of the mind through nothingness. What is that? Akinchana Cheto Vimutti. Then you have deliverance of the mind through voidness. Sunyata Cheto Vimutti. Then there's another one slightly earlier on. Then there's another one. Attainment of the neither painful nor pleasant deliverance of the mind. Then this is adukkha masuka ceto vimutti. Just to make, since you asked this question, we want to connect it to how is it being used, and there are different meaning for it. So this word ceto vimutti, it's a lot of it. So I go out from this. So this one is, if you want to read further, which is also interesting. Oh, this one, yes, this one. Let me go a little bit earlier on. This is yesterday or 2 days ago. I talked about something. Let me see. I think it's somewhere here. Yes, it's here. Can you see right view? Okay. Friend, how many conditions are there for the arising of right view? Friends, there are 2 conditions for the arising of right view: the voice of another and wise attention. This is where I get it from, So these are the 2 conditions for the arising of right view. So this is also a quite interesting sutta if you want to read about it. So here, when it says that voice of another, that means somebody is somebody who is wise. Then for another person, then you have wise attention. So this is just connected, because this is the same sutta I'm using, connected to 2 days ago and today. So let us go back to the question again. So, liberation of the mind. So this is the liberation of the mind. Whereas panya vimutti, so the word here again, panya vimutti here, when I was looking at it, they don't have things connected with the mundane. Everything is supramundane. Okay. Now, so this is the question here. The next one. Next question. So because this one is terms. Terms sometimes a bit. I'm not very good at this type of terms. Sometimes also, because terms they're using a lot of Pali, and sometimes Pali you must know its root word then to derive its meaning, and sometimes the term can be connected with so many things. Just like panya vimutti, ceto vimutti, and I'm sure that sometimes these 2 words are panya vimutti, ceto vimutti. A lot of people also get quite confused, which is which in what is what. So something like this. So we go to the next question. The next question also something to do with vimutti also, but this is now the person right now. Okay. All right. Let me see the next question. Tonight, anyway, question 2. Number 1. Buddha introduces 2 types of liberated one. The Panya Vimutta Arahat, the one liberated by wisdom, and Ubatobhaga Vimutta Arahat, the one liberated in both ways. Could Bhante elaborate further? Number 2. Panya Vimutta Arahat is certainly not bereft of achievement in serenity. To the contrary, he can carry serenity quite far. What does this imply? Okay. In the other parts, the Buddha not only introduced 2 types. Actually, the Buddha also introduced 7 types. That these 2 is part of the 7. Is part of the 7. These 2 is part of the 7. So, since you asked for 2, let's look into these 2 first. Then maybe we'll look into another one short while. So, Panya Vimutta Arahat, Ubatobhaga Vimutta Arahat. liberated in both ways. Let me see what did I write. Okay. Now here, if you all can read, then if you can understand, then good. And no need to explain so much. If cannot explain, they cannot understand, then tonight one is a bit more complicated now, the question. So after the next question also is complicated. Ubato Bhaga Vimutta Arahan. An Arahan with all or any of the immaterial or formless jhana, arupa jhana attainments. So they considered as fifth jhana, sixth jhana, seventh jhana, eighth jhana. And also after the cessation for the anagami to arahan. So altogether there are 5 types of liberated in both ways. Liberated here in both ways, that means the arahan, before he attains his arahanship, he can either any one of the immaterial jhana that he can able to dwell into it, use the jhana as a basis for his enlightenment. Use his jhana for his basis as enlightenment. Either he use it the 5th one, the 6th one, the 7th one, but not the 8th one. The 8th one, although you may have it, but you cannot use it as a basis for vipassana. That means you cannot use that 8th jhana. You come out from the 8th jhana, you cannot do vipassana. You have to go to 7th jhana or some other jhana, or you stop meditation for a while, then only you start off with your meditation. Then yes, you could do that. But immediately come out from the 8th jhana, you cannot immediately go into vipassana. For other jhanas, 1st jhana, 2nd jhana, 3rd, 4th, 5th, 6th, 7th, until 7th, you can able to come out from those jhana and then immediately you go into vipassana, then it is possible, but not for the 8th jhana. 8th jhana is because it's too subtle. Because here we need perception, and at the 8th jhana is neither perception nor non-perception. So the 8th jhana, you cannot do that. For anagami, all right. Now you see 5, 6, 7, 8. So if you want to have the 8th jhana, you have to go out from, as I said, you have to go out to other jhanas. Then you attain your enlightenment, attain the arahanship. Then then it's possible. But nevertheless, he attains his 8th jhana already, although he do not use it as a basis for the enlightenment. All right? Okay. Now the second one, sorry, not the second one. The one after the attainment for cessation. After attainment or cessation here, the word is nirodha. Nirodha samapatti. This one that day we talk about the word nirodha samapatti. That means here I just go through a little bit now. Here, when anagami wants to go into arahanship, what he can do is that he attains the 8th jhana, then he goes into nirodha samapatti. When he goes into nirodha samapatti, he makes adhitthana to stay how the duration he wants to go in. And also he also make adhitthana about a few duties that if there's anything that he will come out from it. Now in the nirodha samapatti, then the anagami is totally have zero verbal formation. That means you cannot form any words, any speech. There's no bodily formation, kaya sankara. There's no kaya sankara. And then there is also no mental formation. Mano sankara or chitta sankara, all this one do not have. That means body, speech, and mental formation is totally zero. There's no breathing, but the vital, according to the Sariputta or the Buddha, the vital life he's still able to maintain, to live, but he has no breathing. Then he says that, how do you compare with a dead person and this person in the Nirodha Samapatti? The dead person, of course, although he didn't breathe and everything is dead. There's no mental formation, verbal formation, or bodily formation. And also that in Nirodha Samapatti, all these three formations also you don't have, but there is still life force that's still maintain the body. And the body can able to maintain up to 7 days in this Nirodha Samapatti. You can maintain up to 7. You cannot go more than 7 days, because accordingly, in more than 7 days, the body cannot support anymore. So it only support up to 7 days. So this is what we call the Nirodha Samapatti. So for Anagami to Arahant, he has to come out from that Nirodha Samapatti. You have to come out from Nirodha Samapatti, and then that time the mind is clear, the mind is alert, the mind is powerful, and then he used that alertness, look into the anicca, dukkha, anatta, then he attains his arahantship. So there are 5 types of this liberated in both ways. Panya Vimutta Arahant. Just like earlier on is Panya Vimutti. Panya Vimutti here is, Panya Vimutta here, it means for an Arahant with or without material form jhana, or rupa jhana. Here, the Panya Vimutta, they do not have the immaterial jhana. They do not have any of the immaterial jhanas. Immaterial jhana or formless jhana, just like liberated in both ways. 5, 6, 7, 8, if you go by the sutta way, the sutta, looking from the perspective of sutta, then there are 8 jhanas. The first 4 is called rupa jhana, and the 5, 6, 7, 8 is called arupa jhanas. So you have material jhana or form jhana, and you have immaterial jhana. So if you have any one of these, first, second, third, fourth, fifth, first, second, 1, 2, 3, 4, or you have 0, that means you have 0, do not have this one, then it falls under dry insight worker, sukha vipassaka. So they're altogether 5 types. Now, sukha vipassaka is those like, for example, like those who are practicing only vipassana only. They do not have any form of jhana in their practice. So many of us that we are just going in the vipassana only, then we do not have all this jhana. But if you able to practice until arahantship, then it falls under panya vimutta arahant. Okay? Not so difficult, isn't it? That's a question too. Now, the Panya Vimutta Arahant is certainly not bereft of achievement in serenity. To the contrary, he can carry serenity quite far. What does this imply? Okay. Now, look at this Panya Vimutta Arahant. Now, here, when you have jhana, all right, we talk about the dry insight worker in a short while. When you have jhana, is that the moment the jhana is there, then the defilements or the hindrances are all suppressed. The hindrances are all suppressed. That means you have such a when you come out from that jhana, then you use the concentration that you develop from the jhana and the qualities of the mind that you develop from the jhana. You divert the mind, and you begin to note the mind and bodily process, and you begin to see anicca, dukkha, anatta without much of hindrances troubling you, without much of sleepiness or thinking mind or all kinds of sensual desire, ill will, or skeptical doubt, or all these things all put aside. The whole mind is able to directly onto the noting on this. So on the mind and matter, mind and bodily processes, they can able to see them very clearly. Yeah? Yeah. So even from the first jhana onwards is wonderful. What more, you have a second, third, fourth, fifth jhana. Okay, that is good. Now for the dry insight worker, the sukha vipassaka, that means you do not have any jhana. But doesn't mean that you do not have any tranquility meditation. You know? That means doesn't mean that you don't have any samatha meditation. Even you start off with the rising and falling. Let's say for those who are just practicing this rising and falling and walking meditation and daily activities, especially the Mahasi method. When you do that, that is called a dry insight worker. Even with that, in the beginning part of the meditation, you also will achieve some degree of tranquility and concentration. Without this tranquility and concentration, then the mind is dispersed, and there's a lot of restless mind, a lot of thinking, a lot of sensual thoughts, ill will, skeptical doubt, everything. You still will have that. You have a lot of it if you do not have any serenity or concentration or tranquility of concentration. So while you are taking up this rising, falling, or even in breath, out breath, when you take up this part, before you reach to the first path, there will be times that your mind is free from all these hindrances. It's free from these hindrances for a short period of time. That short period of time, when it's clear, you put your attention and everything into noting the arising and passing away, or rising, falling, and the changing, and so on. Then you begin to see the true nature of things as they are. But then it does not last. Then the sleepiness comes in, thinking comes in, and all these hindrances come in again. And then you deal with them. After that, they are cleared again. Then after that, you can meditate. And then after those things come back again, then they disappear, you can meditate. Then you kind of like to and fro, to and fro. Whereas the one with the jhana, they don't have to go to and fro, because the earlier part, the jhana has cleared the defilements away. They cleared the defilements away. Then they don't have to deal with all this one. Whereas for a sukha vipassaka, dry insight worker, you have to deal with a lot of it. So that's why we see in the beginning of, especially beginners yogi, when they begin to meditate, we find that they find that they are so difficult in just to maintain that 1 hour sitting. 1 hour walking also, the mind is so easily distracted. 1 hour sitting is distracted by all kinds of thinking, by this and that. So the mind cannot stay. So after you practicing for a while, when the insight slowly to begin to deepen, at that time your concentration, especially here the momentary concentration, and we will talk about this momentary concentration, Kanika Samadhi, when it comes into the right concentration and right effort and right mindfulness, on that part. So that this time that when the Kanika Samadhi, or the momentary concentration, becomes strong, then here that momentary concentration, they also, in the sense that they keep the hindrances aside. That's why when they keep the hindrances aside, you can able to see things as they really are. So with the hindrances around, you cannot able to do that. So, and also you will see that as the yogi develop further for this dry insight worker, as the yogi develop further into the meditation, then you find that at times within an hour walking or sitting, they don't find that there's much of thinking coming in. Sometimes, in fact, that there's hardly any thinking at all, or hardly any sleepiness at all during in that particular sitting. So that is wonderful. Even they do not have any jhana right in the beginning, samatha jhana. So it can go very far. So don't underestimate this dry insight worker. Then you may think that, oh, Bhante, like that, must go and start off with the samatha meditation first. Then when it comes into vipassana, make my life easier. It's not so easy. Sometimes people thought that just go by this samatha meditation, and then you think that the hindrances, they just surrender themselves, and then they wait for you. Okay, let you go meditate samatha. No, they will come and haunt you too, whether you do whatever form of meditation. Nowadays, there are people who say that, oh, I can get this first jhana, second jhana within like 1 week, 2 weeks, 3 weeks, 4 weeks. I don't think that is. I mean, when I hear their report, although I don't teach them, but when I hear their report and their description, I think that they're still very far away from jhana. A lot of calmness, a lot of tranquility, yes, but it could be a lot to do with this samatha upakilesa, when they are began to attach to this calmness and so on, thinking that these things are jhana. Whereas this is not. Jhana is still very far, still very deep somehow. It's more than just this calmness and this tranquility. More than that. But actually, when ones have this jhana, then you, in the earlier part before you enter into jhana, you have to do a lot of mindfulness work. You have to do a lot to do with mindfulness too. Because if you do not have mindfulness, your nimitta, or your object of your meditation, samatha meditation, also cannot be very stable. So you need a lot of mindfulness. So in that sense, you have to clear a lot of your hindrances, even when you are in the developing of samatha. Even there are teachers who says that you want to develop samatha right into the first jhana. Well, it may take you a year or two or so. It's not as easy as you think it is. You know that the day we talk about entering into Nibbana, when we talk about the consciousness of path and friction, then they have before that is the change of lineage, adaptation knowledge, those type of consciousness that's running through. In jhana also, before you enter jhana, there's also a consciousness that's running through also. And then the sequence of the jhana and the sequence of magga and phala, they are different in a certain sense. Then when you know that they are different, then you also know that you also whether you have jhana or not, or magga phala or not, something like that. One of the things. Next time we'll talk about it. So this second one, don't underestimate it. Just because you do not have jhana, then it doesn't have any impact. Let me see. Where is this one? Oh. Okay, never mind. All right. Third question. Okay. Where's my sorry. Where did it go? Okay, huh? Well, okay, we go to the third question. Let me share again. All right. Can see? Okay. Question 3. This is from Brother Quack. Again, this is 5th jhana, 8th jhana. You see? Tonight's question is all somehow or another you have like a same mind, Although you all do not know each other, you're staying different places, and yet you have like a same frequency. The current topic of discussion in another chat group is on the Janas. They do not call the 5th to 8th jhanas as Janas, but Ayatanas. Is there a difference between Janas and Ayatanas? Okay. To put it briefly, no, there's no difference between jhana and ayatana. And another way, yes, there's a different if you want to go into a little bit more technical. All right, so we're going to talk about that too. These two. Now the 5, 6, 7, 8 jhana. Okay, these are again, as I mentioned, these are arupa jhanas. But in the 31 planes of existence, that day I showed it to you. But anyway, we go with this one again. 31 planes of existence. Bit smaller. Anyway, let me make it bigger a bit. Can see? Okay. All right. You see they put here Neva, Sanya, Asanya, Yatana. Sphere of neither perception nor non-perception. This is the 8th jhana. This is the highest. This is the highest realm. This is the highest realm of existence. Then you have before that you have a sphere of nothingness, sphere of infinite consciousness, sphere of infinite space. Sometimes they translate the word ayatana as base. Sometimes they translate it as sphere. Okay, in Bhikkhu Bodhi, they translate it as base of infinite space, base of infinite consciousness, base of nothingness, base of neither perception nor non-perception. And here, the beings arises. How does the being arises? The being arises because he meditates. Whether he's as long as he's not arahant, and I think also enlightened ones also cannot arise here also. Enlightened ones also cannot arise here, even though you have all this jhana, all this immaterial jhana. I think so. I think if I'm not mistaken. Maybe I'm wrong. Anyway, doesn't matter. What matters is that if you want to arrive to this arupa loka, then you have to, in this life, while you are in this life, you have to practice 1st jhana, 2nd jhana, 3rd jhana, 4th jhana, 4th jhana, and then from the 4th jhana, you will swing your swing into the 5th jhana, 6th, 7th, 8th jhana. Then, whichever that you like, you dwell on that jhana. You dwell on that jhana, and you master that jhana. And when you die that time, and you can still able to master that jhana, in the sense that anytime you want to go in, you can able to go in with that jhana. Then you reborn in this arupa loka. In arupa loka, here there is formless. Only exists of mind. That's why you call it arupa. It's why you call it formless. There's no form. In the rupa loka, that below it, the fine material, they still have form. So it's called a formless immaterial world. This 20,000 mahakappa, 40,000, that one is for us to, we put here 20,000 mahakappa, but if you just want to put it into actual numbers, it is impossible for us to to figure it out actually how long. Or then the people say, oh, one kappa is like this big and this long, and this one, when you have 20,000 mahakappa, your mind is totally go haywire about time and all that. So don't go into that. Don't need to go into that. So here, just want to here. So here in the realm of existence, they put here ayatana. All right. Now in the meditation, in the suttas also, the Buddha used also ayatana to describe the fifth jhana, sixth jhana, seven jhana or eight jhana. Let's go into this one a little bit. All right. Now jhana here, it means the consciousness. It means the consciousness. So when you attain first jhana, second, third, fourth, fifth, sixth, seventh, eighth, then when you are absorbed into it, while you're absorbing into it, then this is where the jhana of the corresponding level arises. That means if you are in the first jhana, that means this is the first jhana consciousness arises. So this first jhana consciousness arises, then it still have form in that sense. Whereas when it comes to the fifth, sixth, seventh, eighth, we call it the base of infinite space because this is formless. The base is not, the dwelling is not in the form in that sense. So we call it a base right now. A base where the fifth jhana consciousness reside, or a base that the sixth jhana consciousness reside, or seventh jhana consciousness, or eighth jhana consciousness reside. So it's kind of like ayatana. When you use the word ayatana, it's more like a base. But the base is only consciousness only. There's no form, it's only consciousness only. So that's why when you say the base and the jhana, they can be the same. But when you look into it another way, then jhana, it's the consciousness that we describe that particular state of mind, whereas ayatana, we use it as like a base where how this jhana is there. So this one is a bit more complicated. Until you meditate, then only you realize that why is it called a base? Why is it called a base or a dwelling? Now, just talk about this 5th, 6th, 7th, 8th jhana, still, since we have a little bit of time. Now, I talk about this jhana, this arupa jhana. Last year, I think, somewhere in May, I think so. I talk about this arupa jhana. And I talk about how we can able to attain this arupa jhana. How we can do from 5, 6, 7, 8, or from 1, 2, 3, 4. From 4, how you go into 5, 6, 7, 8. Now, just to give you a brief outlook about this 5th jhana, 6th jhana, 7th jhana, 8th jhana, since we are here, Now, let's say you able to master your 4th jhana, that means your rupa jhana. You can able to master your 4th jhana. Let's say you take up anapanasati. You take up anapanasati, in breath, out breath. And then while you are at the 4th jhana, okay, you have the 4th jhana and your mind is dwell in it. All right. So you master this 4th jhana, then one day you decide that, okay, let's try for the 5th jhana, for the sphere of infinite space. Then what a yogi should do is that he has to come out from the 4th jhana. He emerged from the 4th jhana. And then when he emerged from the 4th jhana, of course, he feels the equanimity and the concentration is very clear. Breathing also become still very shallow. Sometimes it's not even there at all. Then he comes out from it. The nimitta, that means this is the conceptual mind-made in-breath, out-breath, or conceptual object of the anapana or adapana here. That means this is a created object. Before he goes into fourth jhana, earlier on, when he goes into fourth jhana, he must have this conceptual object become very clear. And then when the mind becomes very clear, he enters into the jhana. So when he comes out from the jhana also, then he recreate that conceptual object. The conceptual object again becomes clear again. So when he goes into the fifth jhana right now, that conceptual object right now, he puts another concept into it, as if like he begins to clear that concept of the in-breath, out-breath, or whatever concept that arises for that particular yogi. He clears that concept and makes that concept again and again clear, as if like you sweep it away until you cannot see the whole concept anymore, right? You cannot see the whole concept of this in-breath, out-breath. You clear this until you make the mind as if like it's an open space. As if like the mind is in an open space. With this open space, which is a new concept already right now, Now, this open space, you haven't gone into the jhana yet, the fifth jhana yet, but you are on the way. So while you are there, you create it with the open space right now, and then therefore again and again, you make the mind wider and wider, or the concept wider and wider and wider and wider, until it is borderless, until there is no border, no restriction. No matter how the attention, your mental attention, look into the mind, no matter how it looks into it, there is no border at all. Then that's what we call infinite space. The infinite space is borderless, nothing. So you dwell into the infinite space. You dwell to the infinite space and you stay with it. You hold on to it. You keep all the hindrances aside, as what if they comes up, you keep it aside, and you hold it as clear as you can. The infinite space, you hold it as clear as you can. Then, when your mind matures, then it absorbs into it. Then the path, the field consciousness arises, and then jhana consciousness arises. Then you fall into what we call the fifth jhanic consciousness. And the fifth jhanic consciousness here is called the base of infinite space. The base of infinite space. Not too difficult, isn't it? Easy to understand, right? Since we are here, we talk about it a little bit, but it's interesting because these are the things that sometimes you don't get it. You don't get it in many of the books. Even you go through a lot of books, it's just only they tell you about first jhana, second jhana, third, fourth jhana, fifth jhana. But actually to do it, it's not that easy. Then you enter every time you want to go into the this jhana again, this base of infinite space again. So again, what you do is that you clear the concept of the in-breath, out-breath. You clear it again, and then you make it into a space, the mental space, and then you expand the space until you are so good. So every time you sit down, the mental space is already there for you, ready, and then When you're ready, you enter into the jhana. So that is called the base of infinite space. All right? Then you want to go into the infinite consciousness. So what do you do right this time? So let's say you master the fifth jhana, the base of infinite space. You master already, you enter out, until sometime you master that level. So after you master that level, you emerge out from it again. Now, in order for you to go up to the sixth jhana, so what a yogi should do, he should not enter the fifth jhana anymore. All right, he should not enter the fifth jhana of the base of infinite space. He should not enter it anymore. He should carry on observing in the sense of the infinite space. Now he's not in there, but when he comes out, the mind is still like having infinite space that is boundless and so on. Okay. Now with that, because he's master in infinite space. Now, in order for it to go higher, then another concept comes in. The concept here is that he has to clear the infinite space. That means he have to sweep them out again for this infinite space. And then just to see the mind as consciousness only. That means the mind is only a knowing only. Because somehow or another, when you clear the space, then it left the mind only. Yeah. To you, it's like, what I'm talking here is like, first of all, you clear it, you make the mind blank already. Now again, you want to make the mind blank some more. Yeah. You imagine the infinite space, and right now, if you can imagine the infinite space and then borderless, that means your mind is totally blank. Your mind is totally blank. There's no like imagination, there's a tree there or what. There's not. The space means the space is totally nothing. Zero. And then here you are, another concept comes in and clear that space away. And now only the knowing only. Yeah. Now only the knowing only. Then once you are in that knowing, you must able to hold on to that knowing of the mind. And then again, here the knowing of the mind, you expand it in such a way that no matter how the attention goes to, you only sees the knowing mind only. And you sees this knowing mind, and again here this infinite consciousness. Yeah? Infinite. And then you hold on to that infinite consciousness, and then you absorb into the jhana. You absorb into the sixth jhana. Then after that, again the same process. You want to go to the seventh jhana. You come out from it. After you mastery the sixth jhana, you come out from it. And then again, doing the same thing, your mind is already knowing only. And then somehow or another, you have to clear the knowing. And then you clear the knowing, then it becomes nothing. It becomes nothing. So what's the difference between nothing in the space, nothing in the consciousness, and nothing in the nothingness? Other words, your concentration, you must be absolutely sharp and powerful. Not only your concentration, your wisdom factor must be sharp and powerful. That means you can able to differentiate a space and an infinite space and infinite consciousness and the nothingness. It's all blank, and more blank. If you then with that blank, that nothingness, then you can able to hold on to it, and then again you go into the absorb into the jhana. Now, and then you master again. Now, when it comes into the neither perception or non-perception, this one is a bit tricky already. When you come out from it, again the same thing, you clear away the nothingness. Already mind is already nothing already, you clear it some more. you clear it some more, then until your mind, when you call it perception of non-perception, that means the knowing part or the perceptive part, it becomes so weak right now. Somehow or another, you are not sure whether you are still there or not there. And the mind is go down in such a weak form, but the wisdom and effort and everything is still very much in balance. Very much in balance. It's just that the perception is such a weak form that is called, neither perception nor non-perception there. At that time, you are totally drop into it. If you are anagami with until 8 jhana or arahant with the 8 jhana, then with this 8 perception, you come out from this neither perception nor non-perception, then you will go into Nirodha Samapatti. You will go into this cessation, attainment of cessation, Nirodha Samapatti. When you come out from this, if you are anagami or arahant, you will come out from this neither perception nor non-perception, then you attain the Nirodha Samapatti. So this is something like that. Since we are talking about this base of this one, I mean, it's interesting to know, but whether to do or not to do next time. Next time. All right. So no more question. That's it for tonight. That's it for tonight.